Imagine a scenario that feels like it was ripped straight from a Hollywood blockbuster. US Special Forces kidnapping a sitting head of state. Well, a recent viral video explored exactly that, and it raises some absolutely fascinating questions. So today, we're going to unpack that fictional narrative to see what it's really all about.
The story drops us right into a specific, though totally fictional, moment. January 3rd, 2026. This is the supposed start of something called Operation Absolute Resolve. The scene is set in the dead of night, with a squadron of US helicopters skimming low over the waves right off the coast of Venezuela. Now, according to this narrative, the first move isn't made with bullets, but with bites. A massive cyber attack cripples the power grid of the capital, Caracas. The entire city is plunged into total darkness, creating, the perfect cover for what's about to happen next. So under the cover of that darkness, with all the air defenses neutralized, elite Delta Force commandos rappel from helicopters right onto the roof of the presidential residence. They breach the building and start moving fast towards their one and only target, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
This fictional raid is just brutally efficient. From the moment their boots hit the floor inside the residence, it takes less than 5 minutes to locate and capture President Maduro. The story says he was making a dash for a steel-reinforced safe room, but he didn't make it in time.
So where was the US president during all this? According to the source video, he was watching the whole thing unfold on a live feed from Florida. And the quote attributed to him is pretty wild. I watched it literally like I was watching a TV show. It's used to highlight just how surreal and almost detached this kind of hypothetical modern warfare could be.
Okay, so in the aftermath of a shocking fictional event like this, the whole world is going to ask one question: why? The source material actually breaks the justification down into two parts. So first, let's take a look at the official reason given to the public.
Publicly, the whole justification for the raid is a legal one. The narrative states that President Maduro had already been indicted in the US on charges of narco-terrorism and conspiring to import cocaine, so he's officially framed, not as a president, but as an indicted drug trafficker.
But the source video immediately pivots and starts to cast some serious doubt on that official story. It poses a really critical question: just how credible is that whole drug trafficking claim anyway? The video then lays out a whole series of counter-arguments. It claims Venezuela isn't a major source of drugs for the US at all, and that most of the cocaine passing through there is actually headed to Europe. It points to Colombia and Mexico as much bigger players in the US cocaine trade, and notes that fentanyl, the deadliest drug threat, has zero link to Venezuela. This leads the source to make a really powerful comparison. It frames the drug claim as a modern-day weapons of mass destruction, just a convenient excuse to go to war.
So if drugs weren't the real reason, then what was? Well, the source material proposes a totally different motive, one that's rooted in resources, history, and economic control.
So this presents two completely competing narratives. On one hand, you have the official story, a law enforcement action against the narco-terrorist. And on the other, you have the video's central argument. This was an operation to seize control of the largest proven oil reserves on the entire planet.
And the scale of that motive is just staggering. At over 300 billion barrels, Venezuela's proven crude oil reserves are even bigger than Saudi Arabia's. The source argues this incredible resource has been at the very heart of US-Venezuela tensions for decades.
To support this claim, the video lays out a timeline of the conflict. It says the major friction really started when Hugo Chavez came to power and moved to nationalize the oil industry, which meant pushing out American companies. According to the source, this was followed by a failed US-backed coup and then years of escalating economic sanctions. The source then presents another incredibly powerful, alleged quote from Trump, supposedly from the day after the raid. By framing Venezuela's nationalization of its own resources as a theft from America, this quote is used as the ultimate proof of the operation's true oil-driven motive.
So, beyond the motives, this fictional scenario raises some pretty profound legal questions. The source argues that the operation wasn't just a political firestorm, but a flagrant violation of both domestic and international law.
First, if we look at US law, the source points out something pretty basic. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war. But in this scenario, the White House just bypasses Congress entirely, unilaterally launching what is, for all intents and purposes, an act of war. The source claims that's completely unconstitutional. Now, on the international stage, the violation is even more clear-cut, according to the video. It cites Article 2, Paragraph 4 of the UN Charter. This is basically the bedrock of modern international order. It explicitly forbids one country from using force against another. A raid like this is presented as a textbook violation of that principle. So, what are the consequences of breaking these rules so brazenly? The final part of the video explores the global fallout and the really dangerous precedent this fictional event would set for the world. The international backlash in this scenario is swift and almost universal. Condemnation just pours in from Latin America, Europe, and major powers like Russia and China. The UN Secretary General declares it a clear violation of the Charter, and a new term enters the global conversation to describe it: New Age colonialism.
And amidst all the high-level politics and legal arguments, the source reminds us of the human cost. It states that in this fictional operation, the airstrikes, the raid, the firefight at the compound, 40 people lost their lives.
And this brings us to the final, really provocative question posed by the source material. A question about power, justice, and the future of global order. If the nations who write the rules of international law can just choose to ignore them without any consequence, what does that mean for everyone else?